Chris Scalzi here with
Matt Howell.
And on this episode of The First Run, Matt and I are going to discuss Jim Jarmusch's zombie film, The Dead Don't Die. We were big fans of Paterson, and this is different, but not at all. We're also going to discuss the soft reboot of the Men in Black franchise, Men in Black International, now starring, I think we've upgraded, Matt, with Chris Hemsworth and Tessa, Thompson. And then it's going to be the return of everybody's favorite, what is it, wordplay game? Is that an accurate description? Insert the blank. We'll say the proper way. It's everybody's favorite insert the blank game, TFR Libs. I got a couple good ones tonight and then one not so good. But we'll see how it goes. I'm sure Matt, though, is going to dazzle us as he always does.
Right. No pressure.
So let's start off everything with a clip from The Dead Don't Die.
Guys, shouldn't we be telling each other that it's all going to be okay? That this will all go away like a bad dream? Ronnie?
Gee, Mindy, I'm not sure I can say that.
Cliff? Please?
It's all gonna be okay, Mindy. Maybe it'll all just go away like a bad dream.
I doubt it.
Instead, of course, is Bill Murray, Adam Driver, and Chloë Sevigny, who play the local sheriffs in the small town that is about to be overrun by zombies. Matt, now we both, I think, confessed, maybe it's just me, to having our Jarmusch exposure rather limited.
Mm-hmm.
And I had made a promise to change that, which I have not done. Mm-hmm. Have you caught up with any other Jarmusch films outside of, I think is it just Paterson I've seen as well? I've seen Ghost Dog, right? I thought I saw Ghost Dog. Have you seen any other of his films?
Not since we saw Paterson. I mean, just what I'd already seen. So, Sling Blade.
Oh, that was a Jarmusch film? No, Billy Bob directed that.
Oh, okay. Did he write it?
I don't know. I thought Billy Bob did that too. I don't know. Obviously, as we are exposing our ignorance in the Jarmusch filmography. So, we both loved Paterson, right? And we were really excited to see him tackle a zombie horror film, but with his own style. And plainly, Matt, with an absolutely all-star cast, right? I mean, you have Bill Murray, Adam Driver, Tilda Swinton, Chloë Sevigny, Steve Buscemi, Danny Glover, Caleb Landry Jones, Rosie Perez, Iggy Pop, RZA, Carol Kane, Selena Gomez, Tom Waits. I think my mom's in this for at least a minute and a half. So, what were your thoughts on The Dead Don't Die? Is it a triumph for Jarmusch? Is it a absolute failure, or is it maybe somewhere in the middle?
All right, so it's definitely not a triumph. It does have its flaws, but it's not as bad as everybody's making this thing out to be. I mean, the Rotten Tomato score is pretty horrendous. I think it's down in the 30s at this point. And it's an okay movie. Like, I think, Jarmusch definitely has something he's trying to say. And the kind of deadpan comedy of this thing is pretty amusing, kind of juxtaposed with the horror and the gore on screen. But I guess, and I think for the most part, it works. You just have to kind of go into it with a certain, what's the word I'm looking for? Forgiveness of its heavy-handed elements. I mean, it's not the most delicate and artful thing that I've ever seen, but if you kind of forget it's kind of like message that's bludgeoning you over the head with, I mean, it's not a bad time. It's a decent film.
Yeah, because, right, Matt, in the end, aren't we the zombies?
Right. I think Shaun of the Dead has said that as well. Many times.
So, yeah, it is, I felt, it had some nice homages to some classic zombie films, particularly Romero's work, the film being set in Pennsylvania. There were direct reference to the car. And that's one of the things, too, in this film, Matt, is how meta this film is. This is probably one of the more meta films I've ever seen. And it delivers it, as you said, in that deadpan way that, though is funny, I don't know if it's as clever as maybe it was meant to be.
Yeah, I think that's exactly. You made it on. I was trying to articulate that, and I thought you saying it perfectly. It's funny, but it's not half as clever as you think he is.
Yeah, which is, I think, just too bad. And I don't know. I think it had a bunch of fun ideas and explores some different themes to varying, I should say, degrees of success. It doesn't have the sublime genius, I think, that Paterson did. And though some of the jokes I did laugh out loud at, and other times it almost felt like padding, like we were killing time in a way. There are moments that were contemplative, and the film's almost downright endearing sometimes. But in the end, I kind of felt that it was an enjoyable, offbeat experience, if maybe a little too much in love with its quirkiness. We're not like Wes Anderson quirky, but it's circling that pool. So I don't know. Overall, though, I think there's enough in here that I really enjoyed. I think the cast is uniformly great, and it is fun and interesting. But as I said, it's almost too clever by half. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. There's some things there's some winking nods in here. There's some breaking of the fourth wall that I'm like, just kind of groan inducing a little bit. You roll your eyes a bit, but I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, the cast is great. The performances are good. It's definitely got its moments. I think we were hoping to see this really transcendent thing, like some kind of really kind of new classic being born, and unfortunately we didn't get that, but it's not as bad as everybody's making it out to be.
No, and it's sitting right now at 53% on Rotten Tomatoes, so not quite as low in the 30s, Matt.
Oh, okay. I know the next film we're talking about is in the 20s, so.
Ooh, exciting. I wonder if that's going to be any good.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, I think there's some really kind of fun moments. I like the interplay between Murray and Driver. Tilda Swinton, as always, is a delight in everything she shows up in. So, what do you think of the way that with the zombie deaths as well, where they eschew the gore, at least in relation to taking out the zombies, right? The attacks on the people are pretty standard zombie attacks, but how he deals with the decapitations or the head blows, if you will, of the zombies, and how it's, well, I don't know if I want to spoil it for anybody, but it's different.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting take. I mean, when I first saw that, I was kind of like, okay. But I mean, I guess anything it can do to separate itself. I mean, how many times can you see a zombie head get splattered open or cleaved in half or whatever? We've seen it 100 times or 1,000 times. So I thought it was an interesting way to approach it.
And this is just as much as an environmental warning film, really, than it is a zombie movie. But in the end, I think most of your best zombie movies aren't really about zombies. It's not the point.
Right.
It's just that, like you said, I think maybe the statement may have been a little too heavy-handed. Though, anytime Adam Driver speeds up to a diner in a smart car is going to put a smile on my face.
Well, there you go. And I mean, it's not even just the environmental message. It's also kind of like, making a lot of heavy-handed references to, the current political environment that we're in, kind of leading to these kinds of things. And it's not really just the environment. It's the very fact of, our politics and our division as a country and everything else as a society. And that's really kind of leading to all of this. And it's saying, it's leading to your doom, they're coming to get us all, Barbara, kind of thing. So, I mean, and, again, Steve Buscemi's hat is kind of a dead giveaway of where he's going with that. So
that's very true. So, what are you going to give The Dead Don't Die?
I'm going to give it a B-.
It's good when we finally come together. We've been really far apart lately.
We have.
At least sometimes. I think last week we were at least 2 grades apart.
Twice. I know, right? Yeah.
So, again, though, dead on. I have The Dead Don't Die coming in as a B- as well. And it is currently playing in most theaters in your area. If you had a chance to see The Dead Don't Die, I would love to hear your thoughts. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday. That is June 25th. Well, there's this.
Still nothing, sir.
Wonderful.
Wallace and Teague are in the patrol car. Dante and
Detective!
DePalma are on the
Relax,
side of the road.
relax. Reach out for Hoffman. Burnett, get him down here.
I thought
Sure,
we were...
sure.
We have the sucker! We got him! We got him!
Get the 12 gauge out of my car. Now.
That is the legendary Tom Atkins in Shout Factory's re-release, or say remastered release of Night of the Creeps, the 80s classic. Includes a limited edition where they only made 3,000 of them, Matt, where you get an actual Tom Atkins action figure with that 12-gauge shotgun. It was retailing for $70 and it sold out. I was really going back and forth on that. I already own Night of the Creeps on Blu-ray, but it's in that just $70 to get that action figure version. I couldn't pull the trigger, and now part of me is kicking myself. Have you ever seen Night of the Creeps?
God, I haven't. I saw it. It's one of those things I caught on like USA Saturday Nightmares or like on Channel 20 here in Connecticut back in the 80s. Like, I haven't seen it since then, so it's been like a good 30 years since I've seen that film.
Oh, that thing still holds up. If you're an
Does
80s horror fan, I would put, Night of the Creeps is a great one. Includes the theatrical version and the director's cut in 2 separate discs. A 5-part documentary in the making of the film, and the director's cut includes audio commentary with the writer-director Fred Decker, as well as a separate one with some of the actors, including, of course, the legendary Tom Atkins himself. Includes 7 new featurettes as well. Some other big stuff. Tim Burton's Dumbo film is being released. If you get it from Best Buy, it comes with a steelbook. Target has a digibook. There are 8 deleted scenes, some Easter eggs, and a bunch of making of featurettes, and a digital exclusive as well. The Aftermath, starring Alexander Skarsgård, Keira Knightley, and Jason Clarke, is being released. Jason Clarke really is your go-to guy. If you need to have a husband get cucked, he's your man. This is another film where in the aftermath of World War II, a British colonel and his wife are assigned to live in Hamburg during the post-war reconstruction, but tensions arise when the German widower who lives with them, well, things happen between him and Keira. So, The Hummingbird Project, which I saw on opening night here at the Gasparilla International Film Festival, this stars Skarsgård as well as Jesse Eisenberg and Salma Hayek. It is a kind of a financial tech thriller that is good. It's okay. Bittersweet Symphony is being released, starring Suki Waterhouse and Jennifer Grey, written and directed by Jamie Adams. Fury, a Vietnamese action revenge film, is coming out, which looked interesting to me, and a little girl is kidnapped by a trafficking ring, Matt. They soon find they messed with the wrong child. Her mother, a notorious former gang leader, is close on their trail and will go to any lengths to bring her child home. Basically a feminist, well, I shouldn't say that, but a female, because I haven't seen it, but a female Vietnamese take on Taken. Criterion is releasing War and Peace with a new 2K digital restoration. Includes new interviews with the cinematographer, as well as filmmaker Fedor Bondarchuk, son of Sergei Bondarchuk. 2 1996 documentaries about the making of the film, and more. Criterion is also including a new 4K digital restoration for Hedwig and the Angry Inch. This is John Cameron Mitchell's film. Includes a ported over 2001 commentary and a new conversation amongst the cast and crew, and more, including some deleted scenes. David Lynch's Lost Highway is being released, which is a Bill Pullman film. You ever seen Lost Highway? I only think I first saw it because there's a couple Bowie songs in it.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things I've been meaning to catch up with since it came out 20 years ago, but I have not seen it.
It is interesting and weird, but it's David Lynch. So now you can pick it up on Blu-ray finally. Scream Factory is also releasing The Green Inferno. This is Eli Roth's punishing ode to those classic cannibal horror films. It's a 2-disc set which includes the original soundtrack CD and has some bonus tracks on it and 4 new making-of featurettes. Warner Archive is releasing the classic Gaslight, starring Charles Boyer, Joseph Cotton, and of course, just one of the greatest of all time, Ingrid Bergman. Have you ever seen Gaslight? It's that's where the term gaslighting comes from. Yeah.
I haven't seen it. Obviously I'm familiar with the term, but I have not seen it.
It is fantastic. Also stars Angela Lansbury. MVD Visual is releasing 24-Hour Party People, starring Steve Coogan, which basically is a... How would you describe it? It's like a musical mockumentary, but actual slightly fictionalized retelling of the creation of Factory Records, which of course gave us Joy Division, the Happy Mondays, and all of those kind of new age bands from the 80s, those alternative 80s rock bands. I just bought this like 2 weeks ago for $5 off of iTunes because I absolutely love this film, and I haven't seen it in 10, 15 years, if not longer. And now, boom, here's a brand new release on Blu-ray. David Mamet's Spanish Prisoner, starring Steve Martin. And have you ever seen Spanish Prisoner? It's one of my early favorite Mamet films. Plays somebody else. It's a top secret formula which promises to make his company unimaginably rich, and he is tempted to betray it. 2 Cinderella films are being released, Matt, the original animated classic, as well as the live-action version, the live-action being released in 4K for the first time. But if you want to buy the original animated film, you can get it from Best Buy as a steelbook and Target as a digibook. And then finally, your straight-to-DVD pick of the week. I feel like, Matt, this is like late 90s, the movie. It's called The Poison Rose. It stars John Travolta as Carson Phillips, an ex-football star turned PI who's got a soft spot for a lady in distress. Like the classic tales spun by the masters, he takes on a routine missing persons case, which slowly reveals itself to be a complex interwoven web of crimes, suspects, and dead bodies. When he discovers his long-lost daughter is the number one suspect, he races a ticking clock to save her, solve the murders, and uncover the town's dirty secrets. Here's your cast. Are you ready? Travolta, Morgan Freeman, Famke Janssen, Brendan Fraser, Peter Stormare, and Robert Patrick. I think the only person they're missing is Ashley Judd. And you get 90s movie bingo. So what should we be streaming this week?
All right. So available on Netflix is a mid-70s classic, won a bunch of Oscars. Network is available. It is a story where Peter Finch plays a newscaster who's going to be put out to pasture, and he finds out, and he has the famous rant on screen of where he's mad as hell and he's not going to take it anymore. And it becomes a ratings smash, pushing Faye Dunaway's character to go to further and further extremes to gain ratings.
There you go. So that's a good pick. That's a classic film. And we were informed by super listener Steven that Black Dynamite is no longer available on Netflix.
What the hell?
So now you're going to have to go buy it. But let's have a brief moment of silence for Black Dynamite. Okay. Let's move on, Matt, and let's talk about the soft reboot of Men in Black International. Let's hear a clip.
Excuse me, what happened here?
We had the best party. Kanye showed up and dropped like a whole new album. Look around, we got our asses kicked. My queen! I'll never serve another. I must end my own life in the most painful way possible.
I don't think that she would want you to,
Who are you to know what a queen would or wouldn't want? Are you a queen?
Well, I mean, to the extent that all women are, yes. But no, I'm not a queen.
You know what she is, though, is an agent.
Is that a title?
It is a title.
But maybe the best way to honor the dead is to go on living.
Yes.
I pledge loyalty eternal to you, Agent M.
No, I'm not interested in a subject.
Too late. It's done. I already pledged the loyalty. I wish you'd said no before. And if you should die before I promise to end my own life
in the most painful way possible.
Yeah, I don't like you.
So that is just a taste of the comic relief provided by Kumail Nanjiani, who is not Italian, though the name would make you think so. That's actually an old joke of his from an old Comedy Bang Bang episode, Matt. So why don't you tell the folks at home or on the road, maybe at their gym, wherever they may be, what is Men in Black International all about?
Really, what's to tell? So Tessa Thompson plays Molly. When she was a child, her parents were neuralized by Men in Black agents, and she becomes obsessed with finding out who they are and becoming a part of their organization. She finally manages to track them down, and they are so impressed that they make her a conditional agent naming her Agent M and teaming her up with Agent H, which is Chris Hemsworth, to fight an alien threat in London.
And Leah Thompson, Emma Thompson, and Liam Neeson star in this as well as Rebecca Ferguson has a fun little role in it, I think.
Yeah.
So Matt, this was supposed to be a reboot of the franchise, right? Now listen, it's no secret that I really cannot stand those first two films. And the third one is watchable. But that's about as far as I can go.
Right.
Now, I appreciate D'Onofrio's performance in the first one. It's definitely interesting, a little offbeat and fun, but overall, that movie's a disaster. So, and the second one's even worse. Was this a reboot? Was this worth the effort, Matt? Or do we need to start over again? I mean, what are your thoughts? I don't even know where to begin with this thing.
All right. So here's the thing. I mean, Men in Black, I've never had a whole lot of affection for the series. It was never something that really impressed me. So, I mean, the only reason I was kind of excited for this one is just because of the delightful chemistry of Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, which was on full display in Thor Ragnarok, one of our favorite MCU films. I don't think I'm going on a limb saying that.
Strong limb.
Yeah. And, so I was hoping that would kind of elevate the material and that would make it at least fun to watch because, the rest of it's kind of just uninspired and hokey. And unfortunately, it's a yes and no. So, I mean, I think their chemistry really saves this film. I think it actually what gives it whatever limited charms it has. But kind of all of the hokey, eye-rolling stuff that was wrong with the original or the other Men in Black films is still here. So, I mean, if you didn't like those, you're not going to love this. But, I mean, you may, find it more tolerable just because Chris and Tessa are so charming. And I'm on first name basis with them at this point.
Congratulations. Yeah. And by the way, did we put them in the seed vault? You remember or whatever it is, that place in the Arctic where we're storing everything?
If we haven't, we should have.
Genetically. I thought we had done that for Ragnarok, but if not, we definitely need to because these are two people that we need to continue the species for sure.
Sure.
I don't know what the film brings to the genre. I don't know. It doesn't justify its existence at all. I didn't dislike it as much as the first two films, but this thing is pointless. It's the comic relief too that is shoehorned in here by Nanjiani is not even that terribly amusing. The whole thing is just it's corporate, summer action movie, too many hands in the pot, and just kind of churning some more crap out. I don't know. It's not like the copyright was expiring or something. They had to get something out. I don't quite understand it. It's the only barely redeeming thing about this, as you said, is Thompson and Hemsworth.
Yeah.
And
maybe because they figured they could get those two that, might as well do it while they can.
And I would say the lion's share of the credit this thing goes to Thompson. She shoulders the most of this film. I think the whole thing would crash down around her if it wasn't for her efforts.
Right.
And there's also this really kind of lame attempt at a mystery. Like there's a mole in the organization and who could it possibly be? I mean, it's so painfully obvious from the very beginning what's going to happen. And it's just a shame really, because I think that this franchise could be really fascinating and interesting and fun. And it just trips over itself over and over again. And I don't know why.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I mean, is this something, do you think this could benefit from something maybe if they darken the tone a little bit, made it a little more, I mean, I'm not saying make it like Aliens or something like that, but I mean, just make it a little more edgy just to kind of kind of play up the kind of more sinister part of what they're doing.
I don't know. It's interesting because even the theme song for the Men in Black kind of has this funhouse quality to it. So that's interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way. I don't know. I mean, I thought some of the effects were interesting, especially the stuff with the twins, the shape-shifting aliens things. I mean, that stuff looked really cool. But it's just, there's just nothing to hang your hat on with this thing. It's middling entertainment. It's fine. I can't recommend it. I'm not going to condemn it and say it's not a D or an F film. I'm giving this a C-.
Are you?
I guess. It's almost like I can't even work up any real animosity towards it.
Yeah.
I just don't care.
Yeah.
And it's too bad. I like Hemsworth. I love Thompson. I think it could have been fun and interesting. They can't seem to crack this code with this series. And I don't know what the problem is. From what I read, that the production was a big problem. They had lots of issues with the script. They were writing the script as they were filming it. And supposedly Thompson and Hemsworth actually hired their own personal dialogue writers during filming.
That's pretty bad.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that you made an interesting point. I mean, when you call it's a very funhousey. I think that's right. I think this thing needs a little bit more BPRD to it. Something a little more, maybe a little more Hellboyish, a little more, kind of sinister. I mean, I'm not saying it needs to be super dark, but I mean something with a little edge to it to take off some of the kiddiness of it. I'm giving it a C. I think I liked Chris and Tessa a little bit more than you did, and I don't have as much hatred of the films as you do. So I came from a place of blasé, I don't care, from instead of hatred like you did. So I mean, I think it's probably reflects in our grades.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess at one point too, they were actually toying with doing the 21 Jump Street mashup.
That would have been so interesting to see how they pulled that off. I remember them talking about that, and I was kind of morbidly fascinated to see even what they would do with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe now they'll reconsider it because this thing is tanking.
Is it?
It's not. Oh yeah, no. It's a bit of a problem. It cost 110 to make. Oh well, I spoke too soon. It's made 113 on a budget of up to potentially 110. But I think they were expecting a little bit more out of it.
Right.
But hey, they're re-releasing Avengers with a new post-credit scene, so I guess that'll...
Hey, they need that $45 million if they can get it, just to dethrone Avatar. You know what? And I don't begrudge them that.
Didn't Avatar have a second release anyway? Didn't they do something or a special re-release? I thought they did something.
They might have. I think the overall theatrical is, whatever. I just read that it needs $45 million to dethrone Avatar.
You gonna go see it again? Would you go see it again for?
I wanted to see it again. I only saw it once in the theaters, and I kind of wanted to see it again in theaters, but I never got around to it. But we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of movies coming out. It's a lot of the weeks are just packed.
We have one of the greatest double features of this show's history coming up: Toy Story 4 and Child's Play relaunch.
Oh yeah,
two films. It's like peanut butter and chocolate. I don't know how you don't go see both of those.
I know, right? You're right. It's a tough choice. You got Spider-Man after that.
Reviews are pouring in, man, and they are
glowing.
Stellar.
Yeah. Then of course we've got the big movie of the summer coming out in a couple weeks. So we got some stuff to see.
There's no. Justice League was supposed to come out last Friday, but they decided not to do that.
No, I'm talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, that. Okay. You've had a chance to see Men in Black International. I guess, I don't know, reach out to us. Feedback at thefirstrun.com. Currently playing in theaters everywhere, which I guess kind of sounds like a threat. Speaking of threats, let's take a quick break, come back, and let's do some fill in the blanking. Blank.
Lincoln's right.
The swamp is my world. It is who I am. It is what I am. I was once a man. I know the evil men do. Do not bring your evil here. I warn you. Beware the wrath of Swamp Thing.
That is, of course, the theme song from the USA television series Swamp Thing, starring Dick Durock. And, of course, one of my all-time crushes from middle school, high school, Kari Wurr, actually appeared in that show for a while. And I went to college with her cousin. Never got to meet her though.
Wow, that's too bad.
She was too big a star by then.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well. Don't bring your evil here. So Matt, the DC Universe streaming service is blank. I mentioned that because they released Swamp Thing episode 1 on their streaming service and then announced the next day that it's been canceled. And there will not be a second season. And supposedly the show is pretty good. But I don't know anybody who's subscribed to this thing.
Yeah.
So The DC Universe streaming service is blank.
Dead. Yeah, I cannot muster any kind of goodwill to try and subscribe to this thing. I mean, I've seriously considered subscribing to Shudder. I'm gonna subscribe to the new Disney Plus thing that gives me Hulu and Marvel later in the year. But I just have no interest in this. And what's really telling is I've never even asked if anybody's even seen any of the shows on it, because I know nobody has. I know Teen Titans is getting a second season, but I'd be hard pressed to tell you anything else that's coming out there. Man,
I
Warner Brothers just swinging and missing at everything.
Well, I got another question that's going to maybe answer that in a little bit. But yeah, no, I have mine. I'm not quite as that is, negative or as you are. Mine answer is the streaming service is near extinction. I don't know.
Near extinction. So you're so much more bullish.
Yeah. I say we got at least another year. But I bet you what's going to happen is pertaining to my next question, my next fill in the blank actually is probably a big part of this. But I think when and if this does happen, I think WarnerMedia is going to cancel all that stuff and then relaunch. I think that's part of the reason why, they pulled out of Filmstruck, because they want to do their own thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if they terminate it and they just tuck it in under a tab on like a larger WarnerMedia streaming service.
Yeah, and that could work. That could work, I guess. We'll see. I'm not confident.
Yeah, me neither, sadly. I'd like to see that Swamp Thing show. I bet you it is good. Oh, well. What do you got?
All right, so we've got Top Gun Maverick coming out.
Yes, we do.
Why, I don't know, but we do. So this is the most important thing about the original film, so I really want you to see. Top Gun Maverick will feature a shirtless blank game.
Badminton. No, I don't know. Because I want to hear them shirtless and then say the word shuttlecock. I'm not quite sure. That's good. I mean, they're going to do volleyball. They're going to recreate.
They're going to do volleyball again. They're not even. I don't know. I give them credit. I think they're going to go
somewhere different.
Shirtless basketball. I think, if I'm being serious, trying to answer the question.
Okay.
Yeah. Little 2-on-2 or something.
Shirts for skins.
Yeah.
Flag football, maybe.
Yeah.
Or just, would you accept throwing a football on the beach?
Yeah, you could do some. You know what? I bet they could do some. I bet there'd be some football on the beach, shirtless, 2-hand touch, and they're going to get a little aggressive. They're going to be pushing people down. They're going to be tackling each other.
But it's good natured, and they'll be laughing.
Yeah, all sweaty. Maybe some, good hustle slaps. Yeah, and you know what? I hope Kenny Loggins is tapped to draft.
Oh, he is
to write another song to go with that entire thing.
I think when they announced it, he started putting the pen to paper.
He's like, thank God, I got to make some mortgage payments.
Let me see. Zones of danger? No.
Playing with the guys? Yes, playing with the guys.
Danger rectangles? All right. Let's see. Blumhouse has announced Sophia Takal is helming a remake of Black Christmas, written by April Wolf. And I think it believes it's going to star Imogen Poots. So, Matt, this Blumhouse remake of Black Christmas makes you what?
Makes me
Wait a minute. Let me cut you off as normal.
Uh-huh.
If I remember correctly, you're not as big a fan of the original as I am, right?
I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not in love with it.
All right.
It makes me go, eh. I mean, I'm not. I mean, Imogen Poots is not somebody. She's an okay actress, but she's not something that I'm going to get super excited over. And these things have a really bad track record. I think we're going to see that again come Child's Play this week. If we end up seeing it, even with Mark Hamill voicing Chucky, I'm not confident, and I just don't see the point of this film. So yeah, I'm completely underwhelmed, and I have a feeling it's just going to be middling at best.
From what I understand with the Child's Play stuff is that one studio owns the rights to remaking the original, and is it David Miner owns the rights to sequels of the original film. It's very weird.
Okay.
That's why there are technically right now 2 competing Chucky franchises.
Interesting.
There you go.
I never thought I'd see the day.
So I think it makes me excited for a feminist take possibly on the slasher classic. Black Christmas is a classic slasher film. If you haven't seen it, I'm telling you, it is top shelf entertainment. And it's one of my favorite horror films and an absolute Christmas staple for me. So I am looking forward to this one.
See, and I just couldn't they make a feminist statement on the slasher genre by making an original film and maybe pulling in elements of these other films instead of trying to remake something?
I guess so, but it's just, yeah. And we do decry a lot of the reboot sequel action out there. I think what it is it's more the people involved I have confidence in. So,
all right, fair enough.
I remember there's also, I was seeing on Twitter, there's been some affection for the 2006 version, which if I remember correctly, I hated that film. But I don't know, maybe for the younger kids, it was more effective and interesting than I found it. I don't know if it's worth revisiting though.
I didn't see it, so I can't tell you. I can't hazard an opinion there.
Fair enough. What you got?
All right. So so in the spirit of the subreddit Keanu Reeves being awesome, Keanu Reeves is blowing up. Like he's suddenly become
he is
like, you know, I don't know, maybe Jesus isn't correct, but he's definitely like Peter or something. Peter or Paul. It's like one of the big apostles. I
look at him as America's good guy.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like
we need one.
The cool older brother or the
Yeah. He's like the cool young uncle is what he is of America.
There you go.
So anyway, so because Keanu Reeves has to come up in everything, somebody asked Feige if they ever considered putting Keanu Reeves in an MCU movie. And Feige actually said that they contact Keanu Reeves almost every time they do a movie to see if they can fit him in as a character. And they're going to do it at some point. So my question is this: Keanu Reeves will play blank in the MCU.
I think he's going to go villain. I don't see him doing a commitment film series, so he'd do one film as a villain. Now, who would it be? So that's interesting. I don't know, like maybe like a Mr. Sinister or some cool X-Men villain. Not that Mr. Sinister is a cool X-Men villain. I really don't know. He came in right around when I stopped reading comics. So, but I don't know. That's a good question. I see him. But here's the thing. Because of Matrix and John Wick, I see him in a black suit. Now I'm trying to apply that look into an MCU villain and see what I come up with. But I don't know. Though, now that I think about it, he would be a kick-ass Silver Surfer.
Ooh, that's a good one. He would be a good Silver Surfer.
What do you
He'd
got?
be playing Point Blank all over again.
That's true.
Whoa. Galactus, whoa.
What do you think?
So even though it's kind of a layup just because of all the John Wick work, he could be an interesting Punisher. I don't think a Punisher in the MCU would be like a straight up character necessarily, even though I know we have the kind of abandoned Netflix series. I think he could be, I don't think he would star in his own film. I think he could be like a Spider-Man anti-hero villain kind of guy. Or he could be somebody like Bullseye if they trying to pull Daredevil out of, you know, out of obscurity. No?
I don't think it's a big enough character. Though, I mean, the series is known at this point for making smaller characters big. But no, I don't. And for me, Barenthal's Punisher. I mean, he is. Say what you will about that series, and I still haven't seen the last season.
Yeah.
But when it comes to sheer intensity, I think Barenthal's your guy. I can't imagine somebody else. Though I liked what's his name? Don't get I played it in the first, not the first film, the second first film. Oh, why am I blanking on his name? Tom, whatever. Nobody knows who I'm talking about.
Ooh, you know, he could be the Watcher.
Thomas Jane.
That's
He guess so. I still feel something bigger and more impactful.
But I mean, do you see him leading a film, or do you see him being like, a Benicio del Toro, like a kind of side character?
Maybe. Yeah, you're right. That might be more appropriate. Though I'd still like to see him as a villain in some capacity. I don't know. Let me see. There's a good Spider-Man villain he could be. I don't know.
Well, we've already got, Woody Harrelson as Carnage. I caught up with that movie finally, and it's just bad. It's just so bad.
You could do a Kurt Connors lizard thing.
Yeah, I guess you could do a Kurt Connors.
Hobgoblin? Nah, I don't see that. I don't know. We could do this all day. All right, Matt. Here's my big one, which ties into my first one.
All right.
Supposedly, J.J. Abrams is close to signing a $500 million mega deal with WarnerMedia. So Abrams' mega deal with WarnerMedia is blank.
Oh, yikes. So are you thinking that it's like one universe, one series, or it's just...
No, he's signing supposedly a production deal with WarnerMedia. They're going to give him $500 million to make films with Warner Brothers, or just do projects with WarnerMedia in general.
Okay.
So Bad Robot is going to sign an exclusive deal with WarnerMedia. It'll be television and film.
All right. I'm going to say is intriguing. I'm very curious to see what they could produce.
You don't see it, do you?
What?
Who does Warner own?
Batman?
What does Warner owns DC?
Yeah. So you think that they're just gonna hit the reset button, keep Gal Gadot because she's the only good thing in this, and then just have him start the DCU over again?
Why not? He'd be perfect for that. See what he did with Star Wars. He did with Star Trek. Let me tell you, man, that him signing that deal is awesome. It would be the answer to everything I've been hoping to see. I would be so excited if he were just to take the DC prop. I mean, still do, give me another Cloverfield film. That's fine. Do whatever you want to do. But I want them to drop the DC universe into his hands and just say, go with it. Do what you want to do. And it would be entertaining and fun as hell. So I really hope this comes to pass, and I hope I'm right about this. But to see a Superman movie under the Abrams banner, under that Bad Robot stuff, I can't imagine how much fun that would be. I think they'd finally get it right, because he's able to marry the nostalgia and what works with all these characters and marry that with really fun, action-packed, and just good films, entertaining movies. And if he could finally do that with DCU, and we could watch the whole Snyder stuff and Goyer stuff out and get rid of all of this, then I can't tell you how excited I am about this.
Yeah. I guess my only caveat to try and temper your expectations is that he has a reputation of kind of creating these things to life and then kind of stepping away. Like, he doesn't seem to be interested in being in things for the long term. I mean, he did that with Star Wars.
But he came back.
He's coming back, but he had no intention of coming back. In this, he did the same thing for Star Trek. I don't know. I would not pin all of your hopes on this. He could be coming to make a Stephen King extended universe. I mean, maybe that's what his thing is. We'll see. Maybe he'll give Del Toro the money he wants to do the In the Mountains of Madness. That'd be sweet.
Anything I think is potentially possible at this point. So, and because I think he's the kind of creative mind that believes in stuff like that and is willing to take the risks to do that. And still, I don't know. I mean I'm just really hopeful. So we'll see. I'm assuming my hopes will get dashed as always, but we'll see.
I hope it works out for you, buddy. I'm not confident.
Thanks.
If this is what are the odds, it'd be a low level of confidence.
Shoot. Fine. You got anything else? That's it for me.
Yeah. Okay. I got one more. So after being absent for a year or two or having a very reduced presence, Marvel's coming back to Comic-Con. So Marvel will reveal blank at Comic-Con.
Another reboot.
Another reboot?
Another comics reboot? Are you talking for the films?
Yeah, I think it's the MCU.
Oh, all right. Well, then they'll announce a Fantastic Four movie and an X-Men movie. That's what you're going to see.
You think so?
Yeah.
You're so blasé about it.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll have some Inhuman stuff. Are they still doing Humans? No, what are they doing now? Eternals.
The Eternals, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a big one. So yeah, no, they'll do some footage of Eternals movie and they'll announce an X-Men movie and a Fantastic Four film. And then maybe they'll announce. You think they'll have casting decisions made? They'll have stars come out?
Maybe. So
Ooh.
Marvel will reveal Keanu Reeves as Doom, and starting his own film.
You can't have Keanu can't. I'm sorry. Not a man exactly known for his accents, and I think Doom's got to have that Eastern European, whatever it would be. What is Latvian? Would it be kind of a Romanian, Russian type?
I guess I have no idea.
Thing. I don't know. Either way, no. I think I'd more want what's his name there? The guy who played Agent Smith, Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving as Dr. Doom.
Somebody like that. That'd be cool.
Keanu Reeves is Professor X.
You could have Hugo Weaving as Doom, and then you can have Keanu as
Reed Richards.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
and then you'd be able to team those two guys up again against each other. So
there you go.
Mr. Richards.
Let's just bring the whole gang back. You can put Lawrence Fishburne in the Thing suit. I don't know who we can make the
Carrie Moss as the Invisible Woman.
Yeah, I don't know who we could do Johnny Storm as, but
Joe Pantalone.
Oh yeah,
Joe Pants.
Yes, you're right. Excuse me, that's the one.
All right, there you go, Figgy. Problem solved.
We figured it out for you.
Hit us up, feedback at thefirstrun.com. We got lots of these ideas.
Yeah. We'll give you our PayPal information so you can wire us the money.
TikTok, Mr. Wick. That's right. We'll do, Sounds good to me. Oh, that was fun. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. How would you fill in those blanks? And with what body parts? We'd like to know. Coming up next week, it's going to be at least Toy Story 4. I'm assuming, right, Matt? We're going to do it in Toy Story 4.
Yeah, we're definitely doing that one.
All right. And then who knows what else from there. I'm going to be traveling for the weekend. My movie-going time is going to be cut in half. But it's for a good event. I'll be up at Yankee Stadium for Old Timers Day, which I'm very excited about. Especially since Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge supposedly are going to be back. Stanton's already back. So they're going to be pretty much at full strength for the first time in, 2 months. Still in first place. What's up? Anyway, feedback@thefirstrun.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Just do a search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually, you will find us. Go over to Apple Podcasts and give us a rating. I will read that rating on the air. It'll help other people find the show. Matt, why don't we go ahead then and take an extended break, and we will see you all soon.